السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإن كان لا يعرف ذلك له أن يشتريها، وإن كان ذو اليد فاسقا، لأن يد الفاسق دليل على الملك في حق الفاسق والعدل، ولم يعارضه معارض، ولا معتبر بأكبر الرأي عند وجود الدليل الظاهر، إلا أن يكون مثله لا يملك مثل ذلك، حينئذ
جيد. بسم الله
يستحب
الرحمن
له.
الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. اللهم نور قلوبنا بمعرفتك واشرح صدورنا بنور كتابك وسنة نبيك، واحفظنا عن زلل وخطأ في بيان مرادك. اللهم نور قلوبنا بمعرفتك واشرح صدورنا من نور كتابك وسنة نبيك، واحفظنا عن زلل وخطأ في بيان مرادك. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. أتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. ونسألك علما نافعا ورزقا واسعا وعملا متقبلا وشفاء من كل داء. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. نسألك الجنة ونعوذ بك من النار. اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا واجعلنا من أتقاء شهر رمضان، واكتب لنا براءة من النار. آمين آمين يا رب العالمين. So we were just discussing before we got cut off last week the masala of the way a person is selling something, and you notice that that thing which he is selling, you know for a fact that it belongs to someone else. You know the owner of that article, and the person selling it, he says or he claims that he has been appointed by the owner as an agent of sale, an agent to sell the item, or the person has sold it to him, and so forth. So it will be permissible for you to purchase that item from him, from this person, from the third party, and to use it. And with all of the various scenarios, whether it's thiqa or it's not thiqa, whether he informs you that it belongs to somebody else or he doesn't inform you, or you don't know that it belongs to somebody else, and he didn't say anything and so forth. Now he's saying, um, if the person that is in possession of it is a fasiq, that also it doesn't matter if he purchases from this person. Why? لأن اليد الفاسق دليل الملك في حق الفاسق والعدل. Why? Because the possession of a fasiq, in the fact that he has control over it, it is in his possession. This is a dalil, outwardly, a proof of his ownership in both the right of a fasiq and an adil, as irrespective of who the person is that he's purchasing from, understand, or selling it to. In both, outwardly, he being in possession of it shows ownership. Like even in the South African law, we say possession is two-thirds ownership or something like that. They say, understand? Or is proof of ownership. So وَلَمْ يُعَارِضُ مُعَارِضٌ, and there's nothing to contradict that outward proof or that outward evidence that he is our owner. There's nothing to contradict it. له sorry. ولا معتبر بأكبر رأي إن وجود دليل, and there's no consideration given to your major opinion at in the presence of dalil. So when outwardly there is a proof to show that this person is the owner, which is his possession of it, then you can't apply your mind and say, oh, but he doesn't look, say he just looks like a bit of an unsavory character. No, you can't do that. I say, why? Because it's clear dalil that he is the owner. In that case, you can't apply your mind, which is zanni, against something which is morally qat'i, against it. إلا أن يكون مثله لا يملك مثل ذلك. Yes, unless the person is of such a nature that the likes of him or her can't possibly own the thing that they're selling. And they can't possibly be the owner of that which they're selling. And so, for example, the person he looks unemployed, or he looks a bit like a scully or whatever, and he's selling a mug, or he's selling an expensive pair of glasses, or whatever, something that this person wouldn't normally be in possession of such an item. فحينئذ يستحب له أن يتنزه. In that instance, it is mustahab recommended that you abstain from purchasing that item. ومع ذلك لو اشترى يرجى أن يكون في سعة من ذلك. And despite that, if he should purchase it, should he purchase it, despite the fact that outwardly this person can't be the owner of such an item, either because of the expense of it, either because it's expensive or whatever, then it is hope yurja, it is hope that it would be permissible for him to do so. Why? لِاعْتِمَادِهِ الدَّلِيلَ الشَّرْعِي, because of him relying upon a shari'i proof. What is shari'i proof? That this person is possession of it, so that is a dalil of ownership. So because he is looking at the shari'i proof that being in possession of it indicates ownership, therefore, inshallah, even in such an instance, it is hoped that the person will be, it is permissible for him to purchase it and to use it. وإن كان الذي أتاه بها عبد أو أمة لم يقبلها ولم يشتريها. However, if the person that is selling the item is offering the item to him is a slave, male or female, then he cannot accept it and he cannot purchase it. حتى يسأل, until he inquires from the owner, the owner, if they have permission to sell it. لأن المملوك لا ملك له. Why? Because someone that is own a slave has no possessions. They don't have ownership over anything. So therefore we know automatically, فَيُعْلَمُ أَنَّ الْمِلْكَ فِي غَيْرِ. Automatically we know that this can't belong to them because they don't have possession of anything. They can't possess anything, so it must belong to somebody else. فإن أخبره أن مولاه أذن له وهو ثقة قبل وإن لم يكن ثقة يعتبر أبرا. And if he informs you that his master has given him permission or her permission to sell it, then the masala goes back to the beginning. And this person, the slave girl or the slave male or female, looks reliable, trustworthy, you may accept it, that information. However, if they are not reliable, they don't look trustworthy, then you will consider his greater opinion. That does this person look to be honest or not? Does this person seem to be honest or not? I'm getting bad vibe, negative vibe, then you leave it. No, they look honest, they seem honest, they look earnest, so then you can purchase it. وَإِن لَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ رَأْيٌ لَمْ يَشْتَرِيهَا. And if he doesn't have any opinion, he can't decide, maybe, maybe not, he's not sure. لَمْ يَشْتَرِيهَا, then he should not purchase it. لِكِيَامِ الْحَاجِرِ. Why? Because there is an impediment here in place. What is the impediment? That this person can't be the owner of it. So rather than possession in this case proving ownership, possession in this case doesn't prove ownership, it shows the opposite. Understand? So therefore it would be best not to purchase it. فَلَا بُدَّ مِنْ دَلِيلٍ. So therefore there must be some dalil, some evidence that this person is in fact the owner, or rather not the owner case, sorry. This person is in fact selling it on behalf of the owner. Understood?
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to another masala, but also in relation to information received. Can we accept it or not? ولو أن امرأة أخبر ثقة أن زوجها الغائب مات عنها أو طلقها ثلاثا أو كان غير ثقة وأتاها بكتاب من زوجها بالطلاق ولا تدري أنه كتابه أم لا إلا أن أكبر رأيها أنه حق. Then if a woman is informed by a reliable person that her absent husband or her missing husband has passed away, and he's gone out in jihad or he went on a business trip, in all contact was lost for many, many months or a year, whatever. Understand? And now someone's coming to tell her that your husband passed away in jihad. Or your missing husband has given you 3 divorces, and I'm here to inform you of it. Or the person coming to inform her is not reliable, not trustworthy. However, he produces a letter, كتاب من a letter, from her husband, informing her of that he had divorced her. And she can't be sure whether this is his handwriting or not, is this letter from him or not. So, however, a major opinion is that this is the truth. This is from my husband. It sounds like him. But it just sounds like him, for example. يعني بعد التحري, afterwards, I put it right بعد التحري. A major opinion after pondering over the matter, over considering the matter, is that this is from my husband. Then what is the مسألة فلا بأس بأن تعتد ثم تتزوج. There is no problem with her going into an idda, and thereafter completion of her idda, she can remarry. Understood العبارة؟ Why? لأن القاضي طارٍ. طرا means to for something to occur at that moment, and in that moment, or for something new to occur to something. And طارٍ is اسم فاعل. Why? Because the thing that has severed the relationship of marriage is something new, something which just occurred. It wasn't there before, and now it has happened. It has happened now. ولا منازع, and there's nothing to refute it, nothing to oppose it. This new information which is receiving, that the marriage which was in existence until now has come to an end. There's nothing to oppose that information. وكذا لو قال لرجل طلقني زوجي وانقضت عدتي فلا بأس أن يتزوجها. And the same also apply if he, the woman, says to another man that my husband has divorced me and my iddat has come to an end, it's been completed. Then there's no problem with this person, this third person, this man that she's studying, to marry her. وكذا إذا كانت المطلقة ثلاث انقضت عدتي وتزوجت بزوج آخر ودخل بي ثم طلقني وانقضت عدتي فلا بأس بأن يتزوج الزوج الأول. But if a woman who was given 3 divorces by a man tells the first husband who divorced her 3 times that my iddah has come to an end, I married somebody else, he also he had relationships with me, and then he also divorced me, I completed my iddah, and so there's no problem if this first husband now remarries her. Understood? وكذا لو قال جارية كنت أمة لفلان فأعتقني لأن القاضي طالب. And the same also will apply that if a slave girl, as to say, that I used to be the slave of so-and-so, but he has freed me. Understand? Why? Because in all instances here, the qadi, the thing which has severed the relationship of marriage or the relationship of ownership, in the case of the last masala, is something which just occurred. It wasn't there, and it occurred recently to bring that to an end. So what it's basically saying here is the asal is what? That if the person is informing you of something that happened to the relationship, something which can possibly happen, like it is come to an end, it is terminated, then you can accept that khabar without dalil. Because things like that happen all the time. And such things happen all the time. So they're not informing you of something which had happened at the time that the relationship was formed, at the time of ownership, or at the time of getting married, but rather of something that happened to the marriage after it was in existence, something that had happened to the ownership after it came into existence. Okay, now ولو أخبرها مخبر أن أصل النكاح كان فاسدا. If an informant has to tell her that the actual nikah from conception was fasid, was invalid, for whatever reason, أو كان الزوج حين تزوج مرتدا أو أخاه من الرضاعة لم يقبل قوله or لم يقبل قوله. Or he tells her, informs her that her husband that she was married to, at the time of getting married to her, he was a murtad, meaning again the nikah was invalid. Or that he was actually her brother, a male brother, again nullifying the nikah from inception, then this information will not be accepted. حتى يشهد بذلك رجلان أو رجل وامرأتان until the Shari'i quota of witnesses pays testimony to that, which is two males or one male and two females. Why? Because now he's not not informing of something which occurred, but something which negates the actual marriage itself, which negates ownership in the case of the slave girl itself. So such a thing can't be accepted. Okay? Why? Because he's denying that there was ever a marriage. You follow?
Yeah.
So because he is um, attributing the end or the non-existence of the nikah to the beginning of the nikah, not something which just happened now, and that your husband gave you divorce or whatever. So in such a case, he has to bring dalil. He can't just talk like that. He must show some evidence that the nikah didn't exist. وكذا إذا أخبره مخبر أنك تزوجتها وهي مرتدة. Similarly, what happened if the person informs the man, that's it, that أنك تزوجتها, that you got married to her while she was a murtada wife, or whom he thought was his wife. أو أختك من الرضاعة. Others vice versa also, whether it's a male is informed or the female is informed. Either way, لم يتزوج بأختها وأربع على سواها حتى يشهد بذلك عدلان. And he cannot get married to her sister just yet, nor can he get married to four other spouses besides her until two people give evidence to that, to show that the nikah was invalid from inception. Okay?
Yeah.
لأنه أخبر بفساد مقارن والإقدام على العقد يدل على صحته. Why? Because he is informing in the second masala, he is informing of fasad, of invalidity, which was tied to, which is connected to the inception of the nikah, not something which just occurred. And I said, otherwise, what I just mentioned to you earlier, he's trying to say that nikah didn't happen at all. That he's claiming that nikah didn't happen at all. So when he's claiming that, he has to bring dalil. Why? لأن الإقدام على العقد. Why? Because this person undertaking the transaction of nikah يدل على صحته, indicates towards the validity of it. So now if he is negating the validity, he has to bring proof for that. Okay? Because the fact that this person didn't know, how can I not know? How did I not know she was Murtad? How did I not know that she was my sister? And nobody informed me, nobody said so. Everybody knew I'm getting married to this woman. Got married in the masjid. Nobody knew she was a Murtad. Nobody knew she was my milk sister. Nobody in my family, no one. How is that possible? You follow? That's not, I mean, it's possible, but it's very unlikely. You follow?
Yeah.
So because of that, he must give some dalil. This person who's giving this new information, he must give some dalil, some proof, produce some evidence to show that what he is saying is correct. Otherwise, the fact that he got married to this woman and nobody objected or whatever, that is rejecting his claim. Okay. وإنكار فساد, and is okay. Sorry, it's correct. والإقدام على العقد يدل على صحته وإنكار فساده فيثبت المنازع بظاهر. Why? Because him undertaking the transaction indicates towards its validity, and it rejects any kind of invalidity. So therefore, there is something established which will contradict what he is saying outwardly. بخلاف ما كان إذا كانت المنكوحة صغيرة فأخبر الزوج أنها ارتدعت من أمه وأخته حيث يقبل قول واحد. Contrary to the masala, if his mankuha, the woman that is married to, is a minor, and then somebody is informed, أخبر الزوج, the husband is informed that she has been breastfed from his milk mother or or from his sister. Then there's the husband's sister. But in this case here, we will accept the information of one person in this particular matter. وَبِالْأَنَّ الْقَاتِلْ طَارٍ. And because of her age, here the thing that is severing the relationship is something which occurred recently. And it is possible. والإقدام الأول لا يدل على انعدامه. And the first idam refers to the transaction, the first transaction in getting married to her. The first transaction does not indicate in this masala upon the impossibility or non-existence of of the possibility that she is does not indicate towards its non-existence, what the person is saying, or its rejection. Let's put it that way. And the first transaction does not indicate, or him undertaking the transaction does not indicate towards the invalidity of what this person has told him. Okay? So therefore, al-munazi', therefore there's nothing to contradict in this instance. There's nothing to contradict what he is saying. فافترقا, so in this way these two masail are different. وعلى هذا الحرف أي هذا الأصول. So based upon this principle, that is the information something which has occurred and now recently it's starting, or is it being attributed to the inception of that particular thing? Then is it fasad muqarin? Then so based upon this usul, يدور الفرق, the difference between the masail will rotate. And the difference between such masail will rotate around this principle. ولو كان جارية, let's give an example. ولو كان جارية صغيرة لا تعبر عن نفسها في يد رجل يدعي أنها له، فلما كبرت لقي رجل في بلد آخر فقال أنا حرة الأصل، لم يسع ويتزوجها. That if a minor slave girl who cannot yet talk for herself is in the position of a man who claims, this man claims that she is my slave, then after she has reached the age of majority, she becomes baligh, she meets another man in another city, and she says that I was actually a free woman all along, huratul asal. Otherwise, she's claiming what? This person usurped me. I was not a slave. He was making false claims. So she, in reality, she's what? Negating ownership. Lam yasa' wa yatazawajaha. It is not permissible for him to marry her. يتحقق المنازع. Why? Because in this case here, there is a contradiction which is established. And it is the ownership of that person. Okay? So again, this is, as you can see, this is fasad muqarin, not fasad tari, or qati'un tari'un. Okay? بخلاف ما تقدم, contrary to the Masai which we discussed in the beginning. Understood that?
Okay.
And we'll do one more. We did this already actually. Can't remember where. Anyway, I think it might have been maybe in the first kitab Yusuf, I'm not too sure. وإذا باع المسلم خمرا وأخذ ثمنها وعليه دين فإنه يكره لصاحب الدين أن يأخذ منه وإن كان البائع نصرانيا فلا بأس به. If a Muslim sells alcohol and he takes the money from that sale and he has some debt on his head, so he takes the money and he gives it to his creditor. فإنه يكره لصاحب الدين. The creditor, it is makruh for the creditor to take that money from him. And if the seller was a non-Muslim, Nasrani means a non-Muslim, understand? Then in that case, there's no problem with the creditor taking the money as a payment for his debt, for his credit. Understand? Do you understand?
Okay.
See, what is the difference? الفرق أن البيع في وجه الأول قد بطل. The difference is that in the first instance where the person selling it was a Muslim, the transaction is باطل. لأن الخمر ليس بمال متقوم في حق المسلم. Why? Because alcohol is not money which is of any worth. with regards to a Muslim. A Muslim can't sell alcohol, can't purchase alcohol, because it's not money. So what he's selling something, it has no worth in the Sharia for him. Understand? So when he took that money doesn't belong to him. He's supposed to return the money to the person that he sold it to, because the transaction was batil. So he's not the owner of that money. So when he's not the owner of the money, he's going to pay the creditor. Obviously, the creditor has to know about it, right? If the creditor knows that this is where he got the money from, then the creditor shouldn't take it because it's not his money. Right? However, if he's a person is a non-Muslim, so it's permissible for them to buy and sell liquor, because for them it's money mutaqawam. It is money. It is property which has value. Then, sorry. وفي الوجه الثاني صح البيع. Whereas in the second instance, where the person selling it was a non-Muslim, the transaction was valid. لأنه مال متكون, because this is an object, this is property which has value في حق الذمي, in the rights of a non-Muslim. فمالكه الباعي. So by him selling it, he becomes the owner, that non-Muslim. He becomes the owner of that wealth. He becomes the owner of the purchase price. فيحل الأخذ منه. So therefore it will be permissible for him to take the money from him. And then there's obviously many masai in our kind, they will apply here. And if you know the person is a lady, for example, a person of the street that sells a body and so on and so forth. Every customer that comes to your store now, buying stuff from you, you'll have to check now, what are you doing? If it was not permissible. If it's non-Muslim, where are you getting the money from? What are you doing? Are you involved in insurance? Are you an insurance broker? Are you this? Are you that? Are you working in a bank? So it would have been very, very difficult, okay, to check every time. In the case of a non-Muslim. Anyway, understood that?
Yeah.
Any questions? Anything you didn't understand?
الحمد لله على السلامة.
الحمد لله. سبحان الله وبحمده، سبحانك الله وبحمدك، نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت، نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.